The old cargo ship floated in the dark of space, broken and silent. No beacons flashed, no engines burned. Its metal skin was scarred by battles and years of drifting. Inside, dust floated like thin clouds in the stale air. The corridors were empty, the rooms forgotten. 17-year-old Mira had never seen a ship this big before. Her own scavenger craft was small, barely large enough for one person, but today it was hooked to the side of this giant. She'd been searching for abandoned wrecks for weeks, and when her scanner picked up this massive ship, her heart jumped. Something this size could hold enough scrap to keep her fed for months. She pushed her way through the airlock, her boots clicking on the metal floor. Her helmet light cut through the dark, showing old bloodstains on the walls and claw marks on the doors. The air smelled stale and metallic. She checked her wrist pad. Oxygen levels were low, but enough to survive. Without her helmet for a short time, the place felt wrong. The shadows seemed to move when she wasn't looking. She told herself it was just the light from her helmet, but her heartbeat kept rising. She stepped over broken crates, scattered tools, and a fallen crew member's helmet that still had a deep crack in the visor. Whoever had been here had left in a hurry or hadn't left at all. The map on her wrist pad showed the captain's chamber at the top of the ship. If there was anything valuable, it would be there. She began to climb the long spiral stairs, her breath echoing inside her helmet. Every sound was louder here, the creak of her boots, the hum of her own heartbeat. When she reached the chamber, the door was half open, jammed in place by a twisted piece of metal. She forced her way inside and froze. The room was large and circular, with a massive window that looked out into the endless black of space. Dust covered everything, from the desk to the walls lined with shelves of strange alien books. But in the center, under a beam of pale light from the cracked ceiling, was something that didn't belong here, something that seemed alive. It was a suit. Not just any suit. It was made of black and silver metal that looked as if it was flowing, shifting slowly like liquid in a glass. Tiny lights ran across its surface in patterns she didn't understand. It stood on a raised platform, almost like it was waiting for someone. Mira's eyes widened. This was no ordinary salvage. This was alien tech, the kind that could sell for more credits than she would make in a lifetime. But as she stepped closer, the air grew heavy. She felt a faint vibration under her feet, as if the ship itself was breathing. She reached out, her fingers trembling, and touched the suit's arm. A wave of warmth spread through her skin, and the lights on the suit grew brighter. Then, from deep inside the walls, a soft whisper echoed. She couldn't tell if it was in the room or in her head, but she heard her own name, Mira. Breath caught. She stepped back, but the platform lit up beneath the suit. The liquid metal shifted faster now, rippling like water. The suit's visor turned toward her slowly, though no one was inside. Her wrist pad began flashing warnings. She didn't understand. Power surges rippled through the ship. Lights along the corridor outside flickered on one by one, stretching toward her like a path being revealed.
Oh.
The whisper came again, this time deeper, almost commanding. Captain recognized. Her head? No. I'm not your captain. The suit moved on its own, stepping off the platform. Mira's boots scraped against the floor as she backed away, but the suit stopped just inches from her. Before she could run, the black and silver metal lunged forward, wrapping around her like liquid chains. She gasped as it covered her arms, her legs, her chest. It wasn't cold, it was warm, almost alive, molding perfectly to her body. The helmet formed around her head, sealing shut with a hiss. Her vision blurred, then cleared again, but now strange symbols danced across her sight, glowing red and gold. Her voice trembled. What are you? Inside her head, a voice answered, strong, deep, and calm. Command access granted. Systems online. The floor beneath her feet vibrated harder. She could hear engines far below rumbling to life after years of silence. Somewhere in the distance, heavy metal doors slid open. Mira tried to pull the suit off, but it clung to her like a second skin. She stumbled to the captain's desk and saw a cracked screen flash with alien text. Then shift into her own language. Primary pilot detected. Initiating control. She didn't know what any of this meant, but she knew one thing. She had just stepped into something far bigger than she could imagine. The silence of the derelict ship was gone now, replaced by the sound of a giant waking up. She was standing in its heart, her hands clenched into fists, the suit responding instantly with a faint hum of power. The voice spoke again, lower this time, almost like a warning. "Prepare yourself, Captain. They will come." Mira turned toward the window, staring out into the dark sea of stars. For the first time, she felt the ship moving beneath her, turning toward some unseen path. And deep in her gut, she knew whatever was about to happen, there was no going back. The suit clung to Mira like it had been made for her. It felt light as air, yet every movement carried a strange strength, as if her muscles had been replaced with something faster and more powerful. She could hear her own breathing inside the helmet, calm but steady, as if the suit itself was regulating it. Symbols glowed across her visor, moving too quickly for her to read, then stopping in a perfect line of her own language, neural link complete. The voice returned, deep and certain, filling her mind like a thought she had always known. Captain recognized, command-level access granted. Her lips parted, confused. "I'm not your captain." The suit's grip on her didn't loosen. Instead, it shifted slightly, adjusting itself to fit her more perfectly. She could feel soft pulses under her skin, tiny electric beats, like a second heartbeat matching her own. It was alive. A hum rolled through the floor beneath her boots. The captain's chamber lights brightened, revealing details she hadn't noticed before: alien banners hanging torn against the walls, a curved console, covered in dust now glowing faint blue, and the massive window ahead clearing as if a film of dirt had been wiped away. She took a step toward it, and the ship responded instantly. Panels in the walls slid open, revealing control screens and levers that rose from hidden compartments. The voice spoke again, slower this time. "Systems online. Awaiting orders." Myra shook her head. She wasn't a pilot. She was just a scavenger trying to survive. But her hands, they moved toward the console without her permission, guided by the suit. Her fingers danced across controls she didn't understand, yet every press felt right. Outside the window, the ship's engines rumbled. Lights along the hull began to glow in long, sharp lines. The dark, silent wreck she had entered minutes ago was now waking like a beast stretching after a long sleep. Then, something unexpected. The helmet's inner display shifted, showing her a view of the ship from above, as if she was floating in space. Dozens of red markers surrounded the area, each flashing in rhythm. The voice inside her head became sharper. Hostile signatures detected. Threat level high. Her stomach tightened. Hostile out here. The voice ignored her question. Weapon system initializing. Shield grid at 34%? A vibration ran through the ship's frame, and for a brief second, Mira felt it in her own bones. It wasn't just the suit linked to her, it was the entire ship. Every hum, every flicker, every pulse felt like it was running through her body. She gripped the console and tried to think. She didn't know who these hostiles were, but if they were coming here, they weren't coming to help. Her scavenger instincts told her one thing: if they found her, they'd take the suit, the ship, and maybe her life with it. The screens flashed again, zooming in on one of the red markers. It was moving fast, closing the distance with predatory precision, then another and another. The voice in her head dropped into something colder. Incoming vessels. Recommend defensive posture. Her breath quickened. I don't know how. The suit's metal around her arms shifted, sliding into thin plates that locked into place. She felt a warm surge through her hands as a new set of controls rose from the console, though glowing a deep red. "You will," the voice replied. The first enemy ship broke through the shadows outside. Its hull, jagged and black, its lights burning like hungry eyes. Myra could see weapons along its sides, and even from here she knew these ships were made for hunting. Her mind raced. She had no training, no crew, no plan. Yet somehow, as her fingers rested on the glowing controls, she felt her fear begin to change into something else. Focus. The suit tightened around her, almost as if it sensed her resolve. The voice in her head became almost calm, almost human. Captain, the hunt begins. The moment Mira touched the glowing controls, the entire ship seemed to wake in a way she had never felt before. The metal under her boots vibrated like a steady heartbeat. The walls hummed with energy, and faint blue lines of light ran along. The floor stretching in every direction, as if showing her the ship's veins. She took a step forward, and the light shifted, following her movements like water flowing around her feet. The air itself felt warmer, cleaner, like the ship was drawing fresh breath for the first time in years. Mira glanced at the walls. Small vents were opening and closing in rhythm, releasing soft waves of air, almost like sighs. She could hear deep rumbles coming from the lower decks, as if massive engines were stretching after a long sleep. The voice in her head spoke again, quiet but certain. Neural integration complete. You are now part of the vessel. Her chest tightened. Of the vessel. The lights along the ceiling brightened and dimmed, as though the ship was listening. Doors ahead slid open without her touching them, revealing new corridors filled with glowing alien text along the walls. Every time she looked at a panel, the words shifted into her own language. Navigation, weapons bay, crew quarters. Mira walked slowly, her boots tapping against the metal. Every sound echoed back to her in perfect timing, like the ship was answering her steps. It felt alive, as if the corridors themselves could feel her presence. She reached a wide viewing hall, its windows stretching floor to ceiling. Beyond the glass, she could see the curve of the ship's massive wings, each one lined with glowing symbols. They pulsed in rhythm with her own heartbeat. Making her realize the truth, the suit wasn't just connected to her, it had linked her directly to the ship's core. The feeling was strange, almost intoxicating. Every movement of the ship felt like a movement of her own body. When the engines hummed, it felt like a deep breath in her chest. When the wings shifted slightly, it was like stretching her own arms, but the connection carried more than control. It carried awareness. Mira could feel things she shouldn't be able to feel. She sensed the cold emptiness of the outer hull, the slow flicker of the reactor deep below, even the faint vibration of something tapping against the ship's underside far away. Her visor flashed with a warning. External contact detected. The voice in her head grew sharper. They have found us. She turned toward the window and saw movement in the distance. Tiny lights flickered in the darkness, growing brighter. Her visor magnified the view, and she saw them clearly. Small hunters' ships, each shaped like a spear. Slicing through the void toward her, the ship's systems reacted before she could speak. Energy flowed from deep within the hull, rushing up toward the surface. Long panels on the wings unfolded, revealing what looked like black crystal weapons, each one glowing faintly at the tips. Mira gripped the nearest railing as the deck beneath her shifted slightly, turning the entire ship toward the threat. She hadn't touched a single control. Yet the vessel moved like it already knew what she wanted. The voice returned, calm, but with a hidden edge. You feel it, don't you? The pulse of the hunt, the ship and the captain, one mind, one will. Her heart pounded faster, and the lights across the walls pulsed with it. She swallowed hard. I've never flown anything like this. Tss. The voice almost sounded amused. You are not flying it, you are it. Outside, the hunter ships spread out, forming a wide net around her. Their weapons lit up, casting sharp lines of red light against the black of space. The ship under Mira's feet rumbled with anticipation, ready to strike. She realized then this was not a dead relic she had found. This was a predator that had been sleeping, waiting for a captain. And now it had one. Asterisk, the hunters came fast, their ships cutting through the black void like blades through water. Mira could see them clearly now, sleek, sharp, and painted, in jagged red markings that glowed under their hull lights. Each ship was armed with weapons that looked hungry to fire. Her visors zoomed in automatically. Strange alien symbols floated beside the enemy ships. The suit's voice translated them instantly. Ow! Designation, Bloodfang raiders. Known for boarding attacks and leaving no survivors? Her pulse spiked. She had heard of raiders before, but only in whispered stories told by scavengers. Their entire fleets vanished, their remains found floating, stripped of everything. But Bones, the raiders spread out, surrounding her like a pack of wolves closing in on a lone prey. Static hissed inside her helmet. Then a sharp alien voice broke through. "Captain, surrender the suit, and we will grant you a quick death." Mira's throat tightened. She didn't know how they could see her, but they knew exactly what. She was wearing. The deep voice of the suit cut in, steady and unshaken. Hostile intent confirmed. Defensive systems engaged. Panels along the ship's wings unfolded further, revealing massive black crystal weapons that glowed like embers about to ignite. The floor beneath Mira's feet thrummed harder, and she could feel the ship's energy building in her chest, as if it was part of her own body. The raiders made their move first. Beams of red light sliced toward the ship, hitting the shields with explosive bursts of fire. Mira stumbled as the deck shook, but the suit tightened around her. Stabilizing her balance, shields at 62%, the voice reported. Recommend counterattack. Her hands moved to the glowing controls without thinking, guided by the suit's connection. The targeting system locked onto the nearest ship. Crosshairs glowed bright on her visor. She didn't even have to aim. It felt like aiming was just thinking. The moment she focused on the enemy vessel, the ship's weapons roared. A beam of pure white light shot from the wing, tearing through the raider's hull. It's the enemy ship. Split apart in silence, its pieces spinning away into the void. Mira's breath caught in her throat. She had never destroyed anything before. The voice spoke again, calm, but with a sharp edge. 1 down. 6 remain. The others didn't retreat. They pressed harder, weaving through the dark and firing in quick bursts. Mira reacted without hesitation, spinning the ship faster than she thought possible. Her body leaned into each turn like she was part of the metal itself. Another blast, another raider gone. Then another, exploding into a cloud of fire and debris. But they were learning. The last 3 ships began moving unpredictably, darting in and out of her blind spots. One slipped close to the hull, so close she could see the jagged armor along its side. Boarding attempt detected, the voice warned. Her stomach nodded. If they got inside, the suit wouldn't matter. They would rip her apart. Without thinking, she willed the ship to react. Panels along the sides snapped open, releasing a wave of bright, razor-thin drones. They swarmed the enemy vessel like a cloud of metal insects, cutting deep into its armor until it spun away, burning. The other 2 broke formation, retreating into the dark. But Mira knew they weren't gone for good. The voice in her head spoke. Low, almost like it was speaking only to her. They will return, Captain, and they will bring more. Mira stood in the glowing light of the bridge, her chest rising and falling. Her hands were still on the controls, but she wasn't shaking. Anymore? The fear was still there, but something else was growing too, a sharp, fierce fire she didn't recognize in herself. Outside, the wreckage of the battle drifted away. The ship's systems began scanning the debris, pulling in energy from the remains. The voice broke the silence. We must move. The hunt is not over. The stars outside blurred as the ship surged forward, cutting through space with a speed Mira had never experienced. The deck beneath her feet felt alive, humming with raw power. Her hands rested on the glowing controls, but she didn't need to move them. The ship responded to her thoughts before she could even act. The suit's voice spoke in a tone that was almost proud. Neural sync at 95%. You are ready? Mira frowned. Ready for what? The answer came. Not in words, but in action. Her visor's display shifted, showing her the ship's full arsenal weapons she had only glimpsed before. Towering plasma cannons, railguns that could punch through asteroids, missile bays that shimmered with energy warheads, and something else at the bottom of the list, a weapon marked only with the alien symbol for forbidden. Her heart raced. You're saying I can control all of this? Yes, the voice replied. And more. A ripple of energy moved through her body, making her feel both weightless and unstoppable. Every breath she took seemed to fuel the ship. She could feel the energy cores pulsing like a second heartbeat, ready to unleash destruction beyond her understanding. Suddenly, her visor lit up with new red markers. The raiders had returned, but this time they weren't alone. Larger warships emerged from the dark, their hulls bristling with weapons. The enemy fleet formed a wall across her path, dozens of ships locking onto her position. The suit's voice was calm, but there was a hint of excitement beneath it. They believe numbers will save them. Mira tightened her grip on the controls. She could feel the ship's hunger to fight, like a predator scenting prey. The thought should have scared her, but instead, she felt a strange rush, a thrill, that made her lips curl into the smallest hint of a smile. The first enemy volley came, a rain of energy blasts lighting up the void. Mira thought about dodging, and the ship moved instantly, rolling and diving between the deadly fire with impossible precision. Her body swayed with the motion, perfectly balanced inside the suit. She targeted the lead warship. The moment her mind locked on, the plasma cannons roared. Twin beams of blue-white light cut through space and smashed into the enemy's hull, ripping it apart in a single strike. Another ship moved in from the side, but before Myra could aim, the suit activated the forbidden weapon. Deep vibration shook the entire vessel as a glowing sphere of compressed energy formed beneath the ship. It shot forward silently, and then the enemy ship simply vanished, erased in a blinding flash. Eyes widened. What was that? The voice answered softly. Something your enemies cannot survive, and something you must not use lightly. But the battle didn't pause. The fleet swarmed in, firing relentlessly. Mira moved like she had been born to command this ship, weaving through the chaos, striking with deadly precision. One by one, the raiders fell, their burning wrecks drifting in the cold dark. When the last enemy ship exploded, the silence of space returned. Mira stood in the center of the bridge, her heart pounding, her body thrumming with the ship's energy. She looked at her hands, still glowing faintly within the suit. The voice spoke again, low and certain. You have only touched the edge of your power, Captain. What you will become will change this galaxy forever. Mira stared out into the endless stars. For the first time, she wasn't thinking about survival. She was thinking about what she could do now that nothing could stop her. The battlefield was empty now, scattered with the wreckage of raider ships drifting in silence. The ship's engines hummed at a low, steady rhythm, almost like a heartbeat calming after a storm. Mira stood at the center of the bridge, still feeling the echo of the battle in her chest. Then, without warning, the suit's visor darkened. The lights on the bridge dimmed, and the deep voice inside her head shifted, no longer giving commands, but speaking in a slow, deliberate tone. You are ready to know. Mira's breath caught. No. What? The visor's display flickered, then filled with a projection. She saw a figure, tall, strong, and wearing the same black and silver suit she now wore. The captain. His eyes were sharp, his presence commanding. But behind him, she could see a crew that looked uneasy, their hands resting on their weapons. The scene changed. The crew turned on the captain in a sudden flash of betrayal. Weapons fired. The captain fell to one knee, the suit shielding him from the first blasts, but there were too many. His own officers surrounded him, forcing him into the captain's chamber, the same room where Mira had found the suit. She watched as the captain sealed himself inside the suit's core pod, his voice echoing across the bridge. If you can hear this, it means I failed. They wanted this ship, its power, its secrets, but they will never have it. I entrust it to the one worthy enough to awaken it. The crew broke into the chamber, but by then the captain was gone. Not dead, his body dissolved into shimmering light, absorbed into the suit itself. Mira's stomach twisted as she realized the truth. The voice in her head spoke again, softer now. I am not just your ship. I am what remains of the one who commanded it before you. She turned slowly, looking around the bridge as if expecting to see him there. You're the captain? In part, the voice replied. My mind, my instincts, my memories, they live within this suit, and now within you. Her hands curled into fists. Why me? I'm not a soldier. I'm not even a pilot. The ship's lights pulsed gently, like a steady breath. Because the suit chooses not by skill, but by heart. You stepped aboard not for greed, but because you dared to face the unknown. That is why I woke for you. Mira didn't know what to say. She stared out at the wreckage beyond the glass, thinking about how close she had been to dying, how easily she could have turned away when she first saw the derelict ship. Instead, she had stepped inside. The voice grew firm again. There isn't more. The betrayal was not the end. Those who turned against me still live. They command fleets. They hold planets. They hunt for this ship even now. If they find you, they will not stop until you are dead, and the ship is theirs. Her stomach tightened. So they're coming. They will come with everything. They have, the voice confirmed. And when they do, you must decide, run or fight, until the stars themselves remember your name. Mira's reflection in the glass looked different now. Not the scavenger girl who boarded a dead ship, but someone sharper, stronger. With the black and silver armor wrapping her like a shadow. For the first time, she understood this wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about finishing what the captain had started. Asterisk. The warning came before the stars shifted, a deep tremor through the hull, followed by the voice in Mira's head, calm yet heavy with urgency. They have found us. The black of space ahead, fractured into dozens of shapes. Warships emerged. From the shadows, each one massive, their hulls covered in symbols of the traitor fleet. At their center was the flagship, a towering vessel shaped like a blade. Radiating power and menace, Mira's hands tightened on the controls. She could feel the ship's energy surging into her, matching her heartbeat. The suit's voice carried. No doubt, this is the same fleet that betrayed me. Today we end them. The enemy fleet moved as one, weapons charging, their lights casting a red glow across the void. Any normal pilot would have turned and run, but Mira felt no fear. The ship wasn't just hers now, it was part of her, and she could feel it. Hunger to fight, she spoke aloud, her voice steady. No. Then let's make sure they never forget my name. The first barrage came, a wall of burning energy rushing toward her. Mira didn't dodge. She commanded the ship to meet it head-on. The shields flared bright gold, absorbing the impact, then releasing the stored energy in a single blinding pulse that ripped through the front line of enemy ships, her visor filled with targeting markers. She didn't think, she simply moved, weaving through the chaos with impossible speed. Plasma cannons roared, missile bays unleashed storms of fire, and the black crystal weapons sang with deadly light. One enemy ship tried to flank her. She felt it before she saw it, a flicker in the connection between her and the vessel. Spun the ship, releasing a swarm of drones that tore into the attacker's hull, ripping it apart in seconds. The enemy flagship loomed closer, its weapons glowing brighter than the stars. The voice in her head spoke with the weight of destiny. Now, Captain, the forbidden weapon. Mira's pulse pounded, the weapon that could erase anything. She willed it into existence, and beneath the ship, a sphere of pure pulsing energy formed. So bright, it cast long shadows across the enemy fleet. The flagship fired first, a massive beam meant to end her in one strike. Mira pushed forward, sending the sphere straight into its path. Light met light, and the void erupted in silence. When the glare faded, the flagship was gone, its place marked only by drifting debris. The remaining ships broke formation, fleeing into the dark. The battle was over. Mira stood in the center of the bridge, her breathing steady, her armor glowing faintly. The voice in her head was softer now, almost proud. You are no longer just my captain. You are the captain the galaxy will remember. She looked out into the endless stars, her reflection in the glass showing a girl transformed into something far greater. For the first time, she felt the truth. This was not the end of her story. It was only the beginning. The ship turned slowly, its wings glowing like blades of light, cutting a path through the black. Somewhere out there, enemies waited, but Mira was ready. Wherever she went next, she would carry the power of the alien. Captain's suit and the legend she was building with every battle,